start right now. And welcome to Inane Blather.
Yeah.
The only show that is the only show. I don't really have much of an intro. I go into these completely blind.
Yeah, I think it's the professionalism that really brings people back.
Yeah.
Listeners, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I did write, no fact checks, no mercy. No fact checks, no thoughtful analysis, no critical thinking, no mercy.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, because we sit down, we talk about something completely different, and I'm like, all right, let's start recording. And then I just pull out my phone to see if I've written anything down. Most of the time, I'd say 9 out of every 10 podcasts, I have nothing planned, right? That's what, that is what's fun, I think.
Inane Blather.
Yeah.
I would say that there was something that
boring.
I was gonna mention.
Okay.
Was that well, I think we've talked about this before I know we have, about like people like Tucker Carlson and whether they believe what they're saying.
Ooh, gonna be topical.
Air. So it does get topical, but we talked about this before, because I'm like, well, they have to some degree, otherwise they couldn't say shit like that. But as it turns out, with this lawsuit that, Fox News is being sued, and so they're having like text messages subpoenaed and blah, 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 blah. So you're getting to see it kind of a behind the scenes of what Tucker Carlson and those Fox News hosts really think. And yeah, they're like, Donald Trump is a fucking idiot. This is like such bullshit, blah, 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 blah. So it was like very laid bare that they don't at all believe what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. According to Tucker,
this is propaganda.
Yeah. And for everyone who doesn't know, Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson is an American television host. No, like people don't know he is.
Yes.
It's only the most viewed political news show on television, although that is pretty swayed. It's funny to immediately go on a tangent from that. It's funny how that's constantly mentioned. Of course, Tucker Carlson Tonight, or whatever the fuck his show is called. Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson Tonight, I think is the name of it. Or or as R.M. Brown said, Goose stepping and small middle mustaching around with Tuck. Was the name of the show.
Not good.
But,
small middle mustaching around.
I just rewatched that old
so
R.M. Brown
funny.
the other day. I sent it to someone. He's like, what is that? What's that show? Goose stepping with Tuck? Goose stepping and small middle mustaching around with Tuck. But, of course, it's always mentioned that he's the highest rated cable news show. But it's also often mentioned that there's a reason for that. I mean, it's a consolidation. There are more major channels with more liberal content or centrist content, and Fox News is the channel for conservatives. So it's like, and so that's why their shows end up having the higher ratings, because it consolidates those people with that point of view into one time slot on one channel, right? Other people can be, good old Lib Dad was just watching MSNBC this morning. I was like, ew. But it could be a lot,
could be
worse.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, and when you think about it, though, it's funny. If you keep up with this stuff at all, with this so-called news, if it can so be called, yeah, exactly, then it's like most of it is just a face going over the talking points for the fucking day. So it's like, so it's going to be pretty similar on the other side as well. It's just broken up into other into multiple TV shows, and it's just all presented by one guy, Tucker. So he becomes like this de facto leader and stuff. It's like, it's just weird. It's like
Goose stepping with Tuck.
It's like, Gutfeld, that Fox News quote unquote comedy late night show. He was the highest rated late night host when it started, because everyone's so fragmented across the other ones. But if you watch those other late night shows, especially during the height of the Trump presidency, it's like you would hear the same jokes from different people. Not even just like the same talking points from the news, but
the same joke.
It leads you down the same path, But like you said, Tucker,
I don't even care that he's a misogynist.
No, that's just, I'm kidding. I do care. But Tucker, Cucker Tarlson, it comes out, of course, that the biggest thing that I remember, I haven't followed it too much, but just that he doesn't like Trump, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't like him. Sean Hannity was calling Trump insane. Like, all these things, they're really, like, they're pretty brutal.
They were being strangely normal.
Yeah, like normal people. But also, I mean, it's just really weird to think about them saying that in their personal lives and then going on TV and then saying the opposite. It's really
how can you live with yourself?
To me.
I don't get it.
No, I know. Because you make like millions of dollars every year, but yeah, it seems really dark. Like if it were a movie, it's like a very unsettling like space to be in for them to be so to live in such cognitive dissonance and like they're saying like Trump's hurting democracy and all this kind of stuff, and then going onto their platform, millions and millions of people listening to what they're saying. Obviously they saw like January 6th
and just crafting something that they don't believe in. Just with a team of writers and all that, spending time
and all for money.
And
I saw the Globe. I was standing in the line at the grocery store today, and it was just an interesting thing where I'm like, I kind of agree, but we're coming at it from different angles.
The Globe,
where it says Fox News stars. It's like a it's not the National Enquirer, but it's like one of those kinds of.
Oh, okay.
You see it in the grocery aisle. It's like a paper.
A tabloid, like a news tabloid or whatever.
Scandals and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a news tabloid. So because it was like, it's like sympathetic to them, sort of, but I'm not really sure okay, anyways, it says Fox News stars Hannity, Tucker, and Ingram used as scapegoats. Like they're being used as sacrificial lambs who were just following the company line, and it's interesting just the way they frame it, because I'm like, yeah, I agree that it's Fox, like you're all for ratings and all this kind of stuff. It's about money. I know. And then they're saying saying that that maybe they'll lose their jobs because of it, but their success is due more to the Fox News brand and platform than whatever they uniquely offer. Like they could be replaced by and they have a couple things: Gutfeld, Joe Rogan, and Roseanne Barr is what they have for the replacement.
It's to go on another tangent,
and
because this is
they bring up also Tucker Carlson and cutting the things from Kanye's interview that were super anti-Semitic. So it's just an interesting article about it, but they're seen sort of in a sympathetic light, and just being egomaniacs and money hungry or whatever.
Sure.
But it is mostly that it's Fox brand.
It is an interesting
pushing them to say these things.
It's an interesting dilemma. Kind of a moral question, which is worse, them going on the air and legitimately believing this crap and getting people riled up, or doing it because they like money that much? Which one is worse?
That's way worse.
The love
I feel like
the love of money is the root of all evil, as Natalie once told me.
I can at least understand that why people get to a point of believing stupid racist rhetoric because of misinformation and stuff, but then to not believe it and spout it anyways, that's what the fuck?
Well, I'm saying really, the only reason it's an interesting thing is because if it wasn't for the millions of dollars, it's like, well, someone's doing it because it's their job, is what I'm saying, whether they believe it or not. I was just thinking it's like a
they're
funny,
just following orders,
like a funny, yeah, it's kind of a funny joke where it's like, no, actually, I think they're more relatable now because I work for Walmart and I don't believe in what they do. Tucker's like, see, I'm just like you guys,
Tucker Swanson, McNear Carlson. I'm just like you guys.
I don't really believe in it, but I gotta do it. It's my job, Just like how you work for Walmart, even though they crush the working class and lobby the government. What am I gonna do? It's what Fox
I'll be
News
out of
tells
a job.
Me. It's what people want to hear. Yeah, I'll be out of a job.
You want me to be
I'll have
unemployed?
to wait for my gigantic fortune to be inherited.
Yeah. I know. I'll live on the streets until then, probably, if I lose my job.
Yeah.
I'm only worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
I thought the most interesting thing, not Tucker, but Hannity just constantly in his text messages just kept repeating,
I love Karl Marx.
I was like, wow, I did not expect that.
I love Karl Marx.
I was like, jeez. I guess... Yeah, if he's going to be a class traitor to the ruling class, that's interesting. But I'll believe it when I see it. Right, Sean? You head with like a loaf of fucking bread. God, I hate that guy. And just as spongy and just as intelligent.
Wait, I want to say Tucker Carlson, this is like a big deal. Like, he could lose his job. I just Googled him because I was going to see what his net worth was. But Tucker Carlson, this is the title. Tucker Carlson takes war with Donald Trump public, calls him autistic.
What? Oh my God. What the fuck?
Yeah, where he's like, in his defense, I think he's autistic or something like that. I will say in Trump's defense, and maybe because he's a little bit autistic, he saw the stakes of this, talking about whatever he was talking about. But yeah, so I'm sure that will be
the
helpful.
Guardian. Yeah, let's see the Guardian. Tucker Carlson firestorm over Trump texts threatens to engulf Fox News. And it's all because, you know what? And honestly, it's great that we get something like this out. Excuse me, I just took a big swig of soda. We're so professional. At least I am. But that we get this stuff comes to light, and it's like, see, like it already wasn't getting through people's skulls. The whole idea that he's playing a character, and they've literally said in court, like, nobody with common sense would think that he's being completely honest all the time, which is crazy. But it's like, well, that hasn't been enough. He's still, like we said, the highest rated cable news show. Even despite that whole consolidation thing, it's like 3 million people a night watch him or something. It's crazy. But yeah, it's almost these great things that are coming out are still overshadowing the fact that they're coming out because Fox News is facing a $1.6 billion lawsuit because of this. It's like, I don't want who knows, like Dominion voting, like what a fucking racket. Like, I mean, there's no evidence that they're changing stuff, but it's just another example of, monopolization of certain markets like that through government contracts. It's really stupid that this stuff exists anyway, that this company can have this much money because they're monopolizing something. Because, it's like just the voting version of these military contracts, in my opinion. So it's like, it's not like you can like this company, but at the same time, it's also like, man, if they like destroyed Fox News, that would be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool.
Because we worry about people just going further right. And people already have. Like, there's like, fine, Fox News once said that Trump wasn't the greatest president of all time, so I'm watching Newsmax now. I'm going to OAN, It's like, okay, good luck with that. And they're bad, but that's just not sustainable, I don't think. I mean, fragmenting that viewership into other outlets, for one thing, is already happening. I don't know if quote unquote destroying Fox News might come too late anyway, because the reason, I mean, I kind of gloss over in my mind the fact that it's like, wow, but all these people watch it. Yeah, they sit at home and watch it. Who the fuck is doing? Yeah, it's old people. Like, I mean, that's
Airports.
not gonna last forever. Yeah, it is funny how CNN. Gosh, that's where their viewership comes from. How many airport TVs have CNN on? It's like,
I know.
it's the only time I've seen Don Lemon like on a television
airport, yeah.
instead of in a clip on YouTube, you know, as sitting at the airport. But yeah, it's the entire 24-hour news network stuff needs to stop. Like, it's just
Stop. You're fucking annoying me.
that's what I think every single time.
Absolutely.
They're Bernie
That's what Jon
haters.
Stewart said.
They're white
Yeah.
national. If they're not white nationalists, they're Bernie haters, or they're just completely fucking boring and uninformative. Is that a word?
24 hour news. Jon Stewart was like, that was meant for like 9/11, you know, like really
Yeah.
big events where you want up to date, you know, something that's happening. But yeah, it's such like a capitalist thing where, yeah, it already grosses me out. Dad and I have had this conversation about the newspapers being, you know, cut off service to like his house
Yeah.
and stuff. Is about making money off of information, about getting information out there to people, and how gross it is because it makes people dumb, obviously. And like in this case, like legit going against, they know it's not true, and they're supposed to be fucking journalists or something like that. Or they at least have like the appearance of it, and they're just going and saying like exactly what they know is false and presenting it as true to people when they have this position of authority, and it's all for the money of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty disappointing, to say the least.
Pretty
Yeah.
bad. Dad and I were watching
Yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm last night. It was nice. And he did it. He said the line. He said, pretty good. Oh, I got to change my levels here. But yeah, and that's, there's a fine line too. I mean, with, you know, for-profit news, it's like, obviously, like there are huge problems with this. I mean, we could see it right now, but even in theory, there's already problems with it.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about, you know, a socialist republic or something like that, it's like, well, state-run news doesn't have a very good track record either. That's for sure. And it's like, well, I mean, the ideal is, you know, for fools like you and the decentralized anarchist types, where it's like, it's just, I mean, news for the sake of news, in a society where you're not doing it for profit, but you're not collectively owning the means of news through the state, you know, is like the ideal. That's the utopia here. And it's like, because just look at Twitter. Look at how many people do the news for $0. How many people want to break? How many people just want to be heard? How many people want to uncover stories? How often that goes wrong? But it's like, well, look at Fox News. You know, they make millions of dollars breaking the wrong stories and doing bad analysis. It's like, and people do this for free. It's kind of, I mean, I'm just stream of consciousness here thinking, but it's like, yeah, I mean, people will do it, you know? We just need a good baseline where if people are having their needs met, journalism will still happen in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, 24-hour news
Yeah, I
is
mean,
disgusting.
state-run media has a different, I mean, it hasn't been set up in a healthy way. I don't think
Yeah.
it's been for the purpose of propaganda, but
This
it
is
seems like with
propaganda.
more like, because my attitude towards like the government is what the government is supposed to be is like the people. So they really care about like the people. But that's That's because I'm an
love Karl
idealist.
Marx.
Okay, sorry.
Exactly.
Too long, didn't read.
So I think it's
I
possible.
love Karl Marx.
Yeah.
And for
So I think it's
24-hour
possible
news,
for people to,
when they're not
yeah.
covering September 11th,
That was, and I don't say this lightly,
worse than 100 September 11th. Yeah, that's pretty much every time I see anything on MSNBC. No.
Yeah. Any haven't seen MSNBC in so long.
Yeah, it is what it is. It was Andrea Mitchell, and they were just cycling through just different. I mean, it's like whatever, a different pundit, or if only they could, you would refer to them as like an SME for each story, a subject matter expert. But instead, it's a PPP, a
Political
putrid penis pundit. Yeah.
a partisan political pundit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just each story had one person talking about it. But when he had first fired it up on the TV, I was like, ugh, Adam Schiff. Who cares about Adam Schiff?
God.
I brought up to him, I said, it's really funny. Online, you'll run into these real diehard Democrat liberal types who float his name as someone they'd like to see as president. And before I was even finishing, he was like, ugh. I was like, I know,
Yeah.
right? He's like, yeah, just because, and even he said, that's kind of a problem. It's like, yeah, because he's on TV all the time. You just get your face on TV, and that's how you get there. I mean, he's like, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a complete
No,
idiot.
thank you.
Yeah. But I'm like, well, I mean, she still would have just been a loudmouth with no power, but the Republicans won again. So now you just keep seeing her because she's on TV all the time. But stuff like
She's a
the
loud
fact
mouth.
that you'd even consider Adam Schiff to like lead the Democratic Party, it's like, how deep into Russia Gate stuff were you? Good Lord. I mean,
There's
here's
no
an
one
interesting
better than
guy
Adam
with
Schiff.
a really interesting story. That whole Russia collusion, all that's interesting if you're into it. Put all the political bias aside, and he played a huge part in that. But it's like, but what does he have to do with leading the executive branch or like winning a presidential campaign? It's just,
And, like,
I don't know.
Getting people
They're
on board with
Kamala
the Democrats.
Schiff, 2024.
Oh God.
If not Pete Buttigieg, I want Adam Schiff. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna blow my fucking brains out. I can't wait till next year the presidential campaigns
Oh God.
because we'll still be doing this podcast, Natalie.
Did you see that Biden is like reinstituting child separation policies?
Oh yeah, he's
at the
great.
border?
He's awesome.
He's great. It's the best. It's what America is all about. Really, truly, actually. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
It's like
yeah,
the
pretty
Democrats
disappointing.
never follow through with anything.
They've been known to.
No, they haven't.
They haven't. Yeah. What have they done? What have they done? Student loans? Oh, right.
They passed that gun
No.
control legislation.
Oh, did they give us? Let's see what else. Minimum wage and legalized marijuana.
Let's see.
Healthcare.
I bet this will be totally
here,
unbiased. Let me
let's see
just
here.
Google Democrat accomplishments. The first thing I see is accountability. Accomplish.
Yeah.
Oh, now Google isn't filling it in anymore.
Because there's nothing. They're like, "What, you want me to bring you to a
here's
blank page? Democrat accomplishments?"
Here's from the Monroe County, Pennsylvania Democrats. Oh, this is like historic achievements. Okay, yeah, the 19th
Ew.
Amendment and Apollo 11. Okay, Apollo 11.
That's what they're
What are you
riding
talking
that
about?
for as long as
Nixon
they
was
can.
president, you idiot. I was listening to more Nixon land over this weekend. It was really interesting.
you said.
Anyone who, oh man, and throughout part of the chapter on the Chicago 7 and the conspiracy trial, which was really interesting. And I brought it up, and Dad knew exactly what he's like, oh yeah. I was like, Abby Hoffman, so-and-so. He's like, yeah, Jerry Rubin. Yeah, I remember all that. I'm like, man, what a time. He was like senior in high school or whatever when that was happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, Democrat accomplishments. Let's look at this. Biden. Because, okay. Accomplishments. Joe Biden for president official campaign website. I thought he hadn't. Changing our failed approach to marijuana. What the fuck did you do with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Student loan debt relief. That didn't happen.
Didn't happen. People are still waiting, Joe. Cut the malarkey.
When is this? Let's see. This must be from his 2020 campaign. No, it says copyright 2022. Nominated and confirmed historic judicial nominees. I mean, Ketanji Brown Jackson's cool, but okay. Expanded healthcare to millions of Americans. Well, it doesn't tell me anything because I have to start paying for some crappy healthcare coming up really soon now, actually. Combating the climate crisis. Well, all I heard on MSNBC today was them opening up more drilling in Alaska, so I don't know about that. Rebuilding
Yeah, then you didn't let the railroad workers strike and they caused a huge environmental, catastrophe with the derailment
historic
of a train.
job growth. Oh my, well, yeah. Yeah, unemployment.
After COVID?
If you're looking at, well, no, I mean, even so, it's like really, really low unemployment. It's like, yeah, and if you follow good old free market capitalist economics, which in America we just call economics 101, just means the study of capitalism. Unemployment has been too low, and it's part of the reason we have high inflation, that inflation continues and things like this. Anyway, I'm not going to do this on our show. I'm already mad. Let's, so thanks for meandering with me. Bye. No. Something is 25-minute long instead.
Yeah. It's like,
wow.
nice.
Yeah, I'm going to start
right
listening now.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, please don't. We're going to go back to an hour and a half. So let's see. No fact checks, no mercy. So did you have more to say about the Tucker Carlson and text leaks and stuff like that? Are you reading some more on it?
I just was thinking that it was like an interesting bummer, sort of. Like I feel more disappointed for sure, or more disgusted, I guess, that is the case. Because I always was like, no, he's like a straight up. Well, he is a white supremacist.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, he couldn't say those things for sure. But I kind of thought he would have some sort of belief. Honestly, like I feel like they're so. The perfect example for me of what money fucking does to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like exactly them at Fox News right now is how money, the love of money, is the root of all evil. It totally corrupts you, and you give no fucks as to how your actions are affecting like an entire society, hundreds of millions of, if not billions of people, because we got all this soft power and hard power around the world.
Yeah,
like insurrection in Brazil or whatever, they're trying to copy us. Like, it just is really disappointing because, like, yeah, it's like, so say it. If you believe it, okay, fine. You're a horrible, awful, racist, white supremacist, misogynist, all these kinds of things. But at least
he's a
you have some beliefs. Legitimately, but they don't. They don't have any beliefs because they don't even believe what they're fucking saying. So
yeah,
they just do it for the money. It just seems really interesting. Like an interesting way to make a bunch of money is to be in media like that, where you're purposefully manipulating people and really changing the course of a society, or having a huge part in it anyways. And it's like, go sell some diamonds, bro, or something. Like, do something that's not affecting so many people. Like, level, do something that...
He believes a lot of it, though. I mean... It's like when you get down to the nitty gritty, he can be he's a sane person who just makes a lot of money. And that's why I think Trump is an insane maniac, and stuff like that. But at the same time, I mean, of course he is a like white nationalist conservative. So there's a lot of this stuff that he quote unquote believes. But when you get to these details, that's almost more all this electoral politics stuff almost. I mean, it really comes down to him just hating MAGA and Trump and the election fraud lies. Because everything else...
But then simping for him anyway.
Oh, yeah. It's like we can't let that paint the rest of his views. He's not a complete hollow person. He has some really bad beliefs. But when it comes down to it, it's because he's not just or is hardly a conservative. He's a reactionary. You know, that's why they don't have any beliefs. They just have hate, honestly. They just have insecurities and stuff like that. And so it's just more about anti-left, anti-change, anti-progress, and let me hold on to my dirty, disgusting money no matter what it takes, no matter what I have to say and continue to say, no matter what I have to believe, even if there's a shred of conscience left in my mind that's telling me that, I don't know, rhetoric that leads to minorities dying probably isn't, good for your spot up in heaven type of thing. But, I don't know. I just hope that that it just really, there's some point where, they they fragment this audience just because of Trump. Because these people are sick.
These people make it.
These people, oh my
Let me
God,
tell you
what
why
the
now
Jesus.
is an even better time
I'm
to
going
buy
to
a
leave
home
this in here.
2021.
I can't believe there's an
Lindsay
advertisement
with Onward.
in my app
I
right
know.
now.
The idea of now being a better time to buy might be a shock.
Buy what?
That's capitalism for
Yeah.
you.
Dive into the
And it
numbers.
won't
You're really
close. Jeez.
Is it gold?
I don't know. It was just some guy. But either way,
These people are sick.
I was going to say, it all comes down to this guy,
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
and the fact that they want him to say,
The N-word.
but I mean, just
Well,
that
Tucker
they
Carlson
love
said he's autistic,
him
so-
so much. They love him so much that just that thing, I mean, it's not even the election fraud. It's just that that's the big thing that this guy
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
is taking up. It's what he's obsessed with. So that's where they choose their side. Like MAGA people, they're just, if he had dropped it, none of them would have stuck with this. No matter how much Mike Lindell, as R.M. Brown called him the other day, I thought it was really funny.
Mike Lindell.
But no matter how much the pillow guy, I was gonna drop a
My
slur
pillow.
with that. I don't know, but was gonna keep going on about it, and these people that are in the kind of the MAGA circle, it's all on Trump. They've even kind of bullied him out of his own position with the vaccines, because it's that's the cognitive dissonance would be too much for him. They would all combust, and so it's the only thing wrong with what they saw in the Tucker Carlson text and all that stuff is that he doesn't like Trump, or that he thinks Trump is crazy, or even just that he doesn't think Trump is the greatest. And it's it'll be, if they can just kind of split these people up. I mean, the only thing, I don't know. I'm not a political analyst. I'm only an economist. But
You're a political analyst.
yeah, I have a list of anal from many conservative politicians. They all want it, but
These people are sick.
but if we could just keep this, keep letting them, just let them fight, just keep letting them go through this, should be enough. The only thing that would really worry me at that point would be a Trump DeSantis ticket, because, and I hope that they're just too egomaniacal for it. I think that they are. But even seeing those people, they'll leave Fox News, but they'll still, if DeSantis says something about Trump, they'll trash him. Never. No one but Trump. I just saw some right-wing nut job on Twitter the other day. Trump or no one else, and someone else responding under that. If it's not Trump, I'm not voting. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so amazing.
Yes.
Please. Then it's I won't have to worry too much about these stupid, do-nothing, dumbass, suck me from the back, dumb shit, Democrats.
Yes.
Just the fucking worst. Every time they do something to Bernie, I'm like, that's so unfair. Oh, it's not working.
The Constitution can suck me from the back.
Yeah, but oh my god.
Nice.
These advertisements. Nice. I've never got these advertisements on my soundboard app before. Oh, you know what it is? Because I connected to the internet. We were listening to music before the show. We were rocking.
I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Listen to Iron Maiden maybe with me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I'm gonna put this GD thing on airplane mode next time I'm doing it so that I can fly through this podcast or something like that. I don't know.
It's got legs.
Okay, Natalie.
Wings.
Yeah, shut up, bitch. This is where the podcast ends. Yeah, at the end of the barrel of my gun. Something like that. It's Monday, okay? Let's see. So, let's talk about something positive. I don't think I have anything positive written down here. The evening. Like, what is being even?
Time of day?
Yeah. But at the time of day, it's the evening. It's some guy with like a big sander or something, you know? The evening. I don't know. I forget why I typed.
There's something there.
I forget why I typed it in there. I was like, I remember typing this in like as I was going to sleep. And I was like, I'll remember what this was about. Like, what is being evened out, you know? What was the etymology of that? Yeah, it's like, is it like between noon and midnight? And it starts at 6 o'clock, so it's an even number. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's at the sanding hour to get something really even. It's at the self-leveling concrete hour. But,
yeah.
So let's see. Oh, we read some of these before university finally stands up to woke virtue signaling. We talk about free market competition and people being naturally competitive, etc. Like, that's always a go-to thing. People say, well, that's human nature. Of course, some of it is completely off the collective rocker. You know, it's just capitalism propagandizing itself into how you see human nature itself. It's like, no, people like to help each other.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a go-to. People like to be competitive, though. You know, it could be fun. I mean, people play games for fun, right? But we talk about free market competition, and part of that is people being naturally competitive. But why do we need money as a middleman in all this? Why can't a sense of collective pride be a motivator for things like innovation in tech and medicine and research crap, etc.? That's what I wrote. So it's like, you know, that whole, just that, it's like we can still be competitive. It's like, that's where it gets a little sussy, as the kids say.
Sussy.
Is it's like, well, that sense of competitive pride and like wanting America to be the best at doing this. It's like, if we had the best education, just that as a motivator, instead of like, well, we get this education so that you can make more money and blah, 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 you know, and but a sense of collective pride. And I was saying, it's like, that whole competition just between these groups, like, oh, that's like nationalism.
I was just literally just gonna say that sounds like you're getting into some nationalism.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
it's like
can lend itself towards xenophobia. I think.
Sure, and it's and that's
pride.
That's the problem, is that xenophobia, and you know, ultra nationalist stuff is almost, you know, this macro level version of if you're being competitive in a good game, you'd be a sore winner or sore loser, you know? It's like
Yeah.
there's a reason there's such things, you know, that we call people that, you know. It's like someone has to lose, someone has to win. We can still all have fun, and all of us get better at this sport while we do it. You know what I mean? Or at this video game or whatever. It's like, I don't know.
One of my friends said that I was like, I feel like you're probably pretty like competitive, but not a sore loser. And he was like, oh yeah, absolutely. He's like, if someone wins, that means someone has to lose. So sometimes you're going to be the loser of it because that's how there's a winner.
It's like, and I'm not going to be that loser,
you know,
and that's why I cheat. No. That's why I take steroids
exactly.
before the work league softball game. No. With a corked bat and a whole hell of a lot of pine tar. They're like, geez. They're like, we're raising money.
Because it's fine for someone to lose, but it's not going to be me.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, someone's got to lose. Yeah. It's going to be you, punk. Yeah, I don't know how far to go with that, except, that it's a fine line to walk, because nationalism can be a good motivator for a lot of things, but it can also,
it's like a team.
Nationalism in itself, it's a team, right? But that's what nationalism is. It's exclusive by nature. These are the people in our group. You know, it's often just by the borders of a country. But it can also just be like white nationalism or black nationalism. It's a nation of people, or the source of all of my political analysis, the Nation of Islam. I'm sure you know that. That's kind of my thing, but I'm wearing the bow tie right now. I just choose to ignore it. Everyone's really embarrassed. You're the only white guy that shows up at the meetings. Barbecue Sprite. I think I brought that up last week. Why don't the flag humpers, talking about nationalism? Why don't the
hag
flumpers, these flag humpers in this goddamn country pay more attention to the end of the Pledge of Allegiance, liberty, which they drone on and on about, and justice for all. That's in there. You know, it's the closer, man. That's the Mariano Rivera of the Pledge of Allegiance. Justice for all. And they get so mad at justice. It's just the concept of justice. If it's not retributive, disgusting medieval justice that they find acceptable in their stupid melted white brains, and I don't mean just white people. Their brains are white. It's not good. No, they don't have gray matter. They have white matter.
White matter.
Like just a skull full of white noise. No,
white matter matters.
No, it doesn't. No. I only have dark matter in my head. That's why I can barely drag my skull around when I'm walking. But
it's so
it weighs as much as 1,000 suns. Yeah. Failure to scoop. But
they've been known to.
For the people that will understand that joke,
Wingus, dingus, listen up.
or understand that reference. But it's like and justice for all. I mean, it was a great Metallica album too. It's a phrase we all know. Well, it's what we should all be striving to.
But you're exactly right.
Hung up on
they
liberty?
have like this medieval sense of justice and like who deserves it and what justice looks like. And justice looks like locking up black people.
Well, it's like, I mean, that's what we're all fighting.
They think that we're nailing
justice. And that what I'm saying is like that they don't even consider it with as much importance as like liberty. Like it's like they get hung up on this, and they is this amorphous they. You can say that I'm straw manning or what, but we all know who I'm talking about. All right, so there's
flag humpers.
Yeah, flag humpers and American quote unquote libertarians and stuff like that. It's like, why is liberty something that must always be vigilantly guarded, and we don't want any attacks on our liberty, and we have these kind of I don't even know the word I'm looking for, because we prepare so much going into these, but this kind of intangible, attacks on our liberty, where it's like this third hand. Well, if you do this, and then that means it's taxes, and taxes is really, you see it as theft because it's liberty. You should be able to keep your stuff. Like 3 level. You're so. I mean, of course, liberty is important. I mean, a lot of people feel like communism is the most liberating. Whatever. That's an argument to have. But it's like, why is liberty the only thing you're worried about? I mean, justice. If the problem is, you could say their views of justice are so archaic or selfish, but no, it's because they don't think about justice, because they don't want to, because if they did pursue that with as much vigor as liberty, something that causes them to like dress up like fucking 18th century dingballs and like pretend you're at the Tea Party, because of liberty, and you want to suck Samuel Adams or whatever. It's like, if you considered justice even a tenth as much as you did, your views would change, I think, just on how the government...
justice is what gives people liberty.
Exactly, or guarantees liberty, right? And it's like, it's the really important part here. If you're gonna, hump the flag as much as you do, consider the whole thing, not just the under God and the liberty part, or let alone the pledging allegiance part. The whole thing's fucked. I hate it. It's so funny in our
pretty fucking weird. Talk about nationalism.
Yeah, exactly. It got brought up at the last Chamber of Commerce meeting. A lot of this, I don't know if I'm supposed to say. We do have like a confidentiality thing, but this is just a funny thing, because in our like notes, or our meeting agenda, there's it opens and then the Pledge of Allegiance. And I think they used to do that. A lot of like just local things. I think it came up on John Oliver. Like, they stream every city council meeting, but at one point there's just one guy there. There's no one in the audience. So he reads the meeting minutes and he stands up and he does the Pledge of Allegiance by himself.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's like
dedication.
Exactly. But it's always on there, but we haven't done it. And then I got brought up. It was like, can we scratch that? Like, we don't need, and they kind of asked, Doug, what about you? Because I was newer there, and I was like, I've made my pledge. I already made it. Why would I need to do it again? That's what I've thought since I was 15 years old, when I didn't do the Pledge of Allegiance in school. Because I'm like, why would I need to do this every day?
No.
Like, what other pledge do you have to do every day?
I have always thought about the Pledge of Allegiance. If we saw Russian school children saying the Pledge of Allegiance, whatever their version of that is, every day, we'd be like, oh my God, indoctrination
much?
That with
like, North Korea.
Weird. It would be, well, yeah, I know. That's what, I mean, but that's such an obvious example.
Yeah.
But,
Too obvious, yeah.
Just because of, Russian hate and stuff, and like, being afraid of them. It's
Chinese,
like,
yeah,
all these children like droning, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United Soviet Socialist
Russia.
Republic.
Whatever the full.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be like, I mean, Fox News would be going crazy over it.
But instead,
we do it every day.
Yeah, instead we do the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag, and they're like,
This is absolutely lit.
yeah, and they think it's so cool. This is lit.
I love Karl Marx.
Okay, so, okay, that was a little thing here. Oh, one thing that... Oh, let's see. In a communist utopia, all of our dicks would be bigger. I think we've talked about that. I don't know how far this conversation can go, but I just had the thought, imagine how different the entire situation would have been if that dude that was killed by Kyle Rittenstein, which I will always say.
Rittenstein? Yeah.
Rittenstein. Wasn't a psychotic pedophile. Like, what an L, too. Like, it's so funny because it's like, Out of all things,
what
it
if
just
he
happened to
hadn't
be
been
a
a
guy
pedophile? What would
that
have
was
been
just released too early, out on his own, homeless from a mental hospital, like because he was a raging schizophrenic sex offender. And it's like, and he happens to get shot and killed. It's like, imagine how different the entire thing would have been, and it shouldn't be. Speaking of justice, if that's not if that wasn't the guy, if it was just a guy who worked at the local broadcasting company being a janitor or something, who just owned a tire shop, anything like that, like, it shouldn't make a difference, but it would. People are so, oh man, the right loved that when Kyle Rittenhouse, they're like, oh, you guys are mad that he killed a pedophile. It's like, oh, you guys love pedophiles now. You see that all the time on Twitter. It's like, what a third grader fucking response. Like, how stupid do you think we are? Well, I don't know. That's a
like,
question,
and you
but...
didn't know they were a pedophile when you fucking
it's like,
shot
do you think
them.
that he extrajudicially killed this pedophile because he knew he was one? Like, no. Like, but...
And even then, regardless of, okay, whatever, obviously pedophiles, that's horrible. What a horrible thing to do to someone. But actually, the penalty isn't the death penalty for that.
Exactly.
And extrajudicial
it's like,
killings
fine.
are like
Maybe
generally
he should have
frowned
shot
upon.
his dick off. Like, okay, and then we'd have a little more, there's chemical castration for pedophiles is a therapy type thing that they do. That's a little more humane. I don't know. There's been a lot of experiments on that. All I know, most of what I know is just from Nick Mullen talking about it. So who knows how true that is.
Even true.
But yeah, it's like, it's funny that one thing, it happened to be that guy. It happened to be that guy. And I wonder if, he just wouldn't be a national figure, even if it's still, ended up being fine, that he was found to have done it in self-defense and whatever. I don't think he would, we just couldn't, on the left, there wasn't enough to keep this kid, to paint him as a murderer. You know what I mean? Which, I don't know. I feel like he was.
You seem
like and especially after
fits the profile, young white guy.
Yeah, a young white guy with a semi-automatic rifle or whatever. But and I support people's right to shoot guns if they want to, but that whole thing, I what really turned me on Kyle Rittenhouse isn't like the situation itself even. It's like, whatever, the way that our political discourse is right then, the way that it was, like, well, a lot of people are sucked into exactly this line of thinking. If it wasn't him, someone else would have been wrapped up in exactly that kind of situation at some point, right? I'm sure other people did, but other people weren't an 18-year-old that shot a pedophile, so whatever. But it wasn't that. It was his fucking crying in his court case and then immediately just going out and making the rounds, talking to Steven Crowder about how he likes women with big butts and stuff like that. It's like
he was at that CPAC, the Turning Point USA conference.
Toilet paper USA.
Like a couple... weeks later, a month later, whatever it was, he's coming out on stage with like pyrotechnics and his name is all blasted up there. He was like a speaker at this conservative conference. Ugh. It was so fucking weird and
they
gross.
call him a national hero.
And he's like not revenge is coming, but like something, whatever, a different
media.
word, but it's accountability's coming.
Yeah.
Accountability's coming.
It's like, fine,
it's like,
sue him.
Boy, you had a gun. You were on trial with I know.
Yeah, you're on trial for shooting someone, which you did, okay? Fuck off. Like, calling him a hero, it's like, so what is it? Was it self-defense? Did he fear for his life and kill someone in self-defense, or was he a hero? What are you talking about? But it was his crying that you don't want to both armchair psychoanalyze someone you don't know and also kind of perpetuate toxic masculinity in a certain way, but it's also that's not real crying. There's no way. There's no way that was real. It just cannot be. And it's whatever, doesn't matter what I think about it, but it was so fake. And I hate saying that about someone crying. I hate even thinking about it, but it's
I feel
that can't be real.
It looked fake, and then the way that he acted afterwards,
that's what I'm saying.
In no way shows someone, and it's whatever. Yeah, I guess I'm just being judgmental that maybe he just really dealt with this in a healthy way or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know about that. How old is he? 17? 18?
Yeah, he was 19 when he was taking a stand or something. I don't know.
Yeah, when they're those guys this age are known for their reasoning abilities and calm composure and logical deductions and things like that, and put into the fame and constantly being surrounded by people who think that you were justified in murdering
and
people.
also being surrounded and berated by people calling him a murderer
stupid
too.
Brain.
None of this is good for
sure.
him. All of this, it's that's the thing. It's man, I would have felt so bad for this guy. It's man, you got swept up. How easy it would be to be swept up into this way of thinking and want to go protect someone else's property with a gun because you think that Black Lives Matter is burning down the city or whatever. It's I already feel bad for you, for your teenage mind to be swept into that and be holding a gun and thinking that you're doing the right thing, and then to end up killing someone. Oh my God. And instead, the aftermath of it, it's oh, no, you're a fake ass piece of shit. And I just hate it. I can't, I hate thinking that about someone who's not an established right-wing nut job or a Nazi or something like that. It's I don't know. It's really torn me, but I just thought it was funny that, man, imagine that one difference if that wasn't the person that he shot. How different everything would have been. If it's man, you just happened to shoot a deranged pedophile.
Did you put him in place there practically?
What are the odds of that? Although a right winger would be pretty high if they're marching with Black Lives Matter.
Whatever.
Fuck you. But
were they? I don't. Yeah, whatever. I mean, because that's which all of that just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you didn't know that when you shot him.
I know.
So what does literally anything that they've ever done have anything to do with anything?
Well,
besides this interaction,
everything is shaped by the response, right? Doesn't even matter. People get shot to death every day. It's the United States, but all that matters.
Someone dies every 12 minutes in the United States
from gun violence. Yeah. And that guy is not feeling good. No. It's someone dies every 12 minutes. How does he keep coming back to life? But who is that someone? It's that happens. All that matters is the response, the interpretation, and the media around it, right? So, it's funny. What matters is the fact that there's no way he could know what kind of person that was. But what matters does not matter, right? It's what matters is how we all respond to it, how it's filtered through the media, and how we have to take our sides. And it made it very easy for people to take his side when you found out who he shot. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty dystopian. It's just how cynical you have to be about it to really look at why things change or why things become stories. Why we take these views from landmark events like that. How they shape our own personal political philosophies and things like that all because of happenstance combined with how it was presented to us, and a reaction to it. Kind of sucks. That's why you have to have a good baseline of values and morals, right? Which I'm working on. I think you're there, right? You've got morals.
Yeah, sure. Sure, yeah, that's what those are.
Yeah, you're like, those are those, you put those like on eggs, right? Morals? I have some of those.
Yeah. No, morels, that's mushrooms.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
I've got plenty of those,
some morels. Those are, I'll have those with dinner. What else? I have so much here. Gosh, today I'm just really back and forth. I'm all over the place. All right. Did I mention last week? I need to clean this up because some of them I haven't deleted after I talk about them. Did I mention last week that saying like we're like a family here? Like in the workplace? Yeah, sounds a little bit communist to me. Okay. I feel like you would disagree for the most part, but I think Hitler was wrong. No, I think you would disagree for the most part, but I wrote here, I heard Vosh talking about something, everyone cancel me now because I listened to him, but I love when Vosh is talking about conservatives. I'll always listen to him. I love anything Vosh talking, reacting to PragerU. That's like one of my favorite types of videos. I like it. But Vosh says he doesn't think like being stupid is an indicator or like something that can lead you to conservatism. Doesn't think stupid people become conservative, but instead conservatism makes people stupid. What do you think about that? Like, you get to that point and every part of your anti-progress conservative political philosophy and then being surrounded by the way that conservative media presents information to you, all of that combines into like conservatism just eventually makes you become dumber and dumber.
Well,
and then
it
you
definitely doesn't make you use your critical thinking skills.
Yeah, because if you do, you're not a conservative anymore.
I feel like a lot of leftists would just hate me because I feel like I agree with Vosh a lot.
Sure.
Like, often
it's all very online
stuff
like in terms of people hating about,
my opinion of humans is that they aren't stupid. Like that there aren't stupid people.
Yeah.
Like everyone is capable of learning and stuff. And definitely when you're just exposed to a bunch of misinformation and like the way that they constantly use logical fallacies, like in propaganda, I feel like they just constantly see it. So that's how they're like using logic is by using fallacies. And that's not
what about a phallus?
For
fallacies. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I know that's what they're thinking about.
Ears perked up.
Fallacies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a logical phallus. Phalluses. Bunch of logical phalluses. Bunch of wiener. Bunch of dicks with little glasses on them. You know.
Yeah.
Logical
Spock
phalluses. There's a Far Side cartoon that's probably been done. I'm sure it's been done. No.
No, let's do it on our Inane Blather t-shirts.
How about you do it on the Inane Blather? You draw it and you put it on the Inane Blather fucking Instagram, Natalie. 0 posts. You want me to take over the Instagram
0
too?
posts? Yes.
And yes. No. Everyone, I don't know if you have the app because I tag Inane Blather in different things.
I don't.
Oh, I thought you did. So I could tag it so you could see things.
Computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not a very good website. It's a much better app. It's a very good app. Instagram's good. I mean, it's not good in terms of like morally good, but it is a well-run app as far as I can tell.
I believe that. Yeah. I just didn't want to spend a lot of time on it.
Oh, yeah.
Getting onto my computer makes it a lot less accessible and less fun, so it's more like
Yeah,
work.
see,
so I just don't do it.
Yeah, since it seems like work, I decided not to do it anymore. Yeah, I thought that you had done it because you wanted to, do some work for Inane Blather. I just misinterpreted that. Yeah. You just wanted an account to be able to see things sometimes.
I just wanted to look at Hassan's
Piker,
Instagram.
yeah.
That's literally because when I'm on it, like, because I don't have Instagram, it only lets me look at a couple things. Then it's like, log in to see more.
Exactly.
So I was like, well, I'll just create an Instagram to thirst after his thirst trap.
Well, what's the password? No, I'll just do it on the podcast so I can log in.
I think it's the same as our...
the password is...
I love Karl Marx.
69.
No, but it's
the same old password.
It's a password that...
We don't reuse our passwords,
We've been known to.
Yeah.
You what?
But, now there was one on here that maybe we could think about it more and in a more organized... quote unquote organized Inane Blather episode. I was having a great talk with a right-wing buddy where I think that we're on to something here with this whole ultra national with this whole with a way to bring people like him around to eventual utopianism, going towards the left, because so many people can, all it takes is just, a bit of critical thinking and really looking at how life works for you in America, right? In terms of, as long as it's not presented to someone as being, Karl Marx type stuff. The idea of the ruling class rigging the system in their favor versus us in the working class is pretty palatable, right? It's any open-minded person looking into this stuff or wanting to discuss things or politics or anything like that, right? To blather on. You can get people on board because they're looking at their lives and how difficult it is for some people and how easy it is and how, we can all agree. It's like, yeah, these billionaires, they live in a different world. They get to make the rules, stuff like that, right? And you can eventually bring people to agreeing that, money can really corrupt all this stuff, right? Yeah, you just have to not be telling them, because capitalism is evil, It's like, then you get people off of it. But maybe we can look into this. Yeah, because I had written this thing that we'd talked about was expansion into space in itself can be the catalyst to a post-capitalist society. And I was like, and I had brought up, then I was like, why do you think Star Trek is just gay space communism? That's what it is. It's like,
got no money.
It's Star Trek, you're out there. It was something, man, I'd have to think about it again and we can bring it up some other time, but that I had grasped much better at that point about how once we have infinite, what would be infinite property cannot be individually or collectively owned. When we leave this plane, there aren't these restrictions. Even if you're just thinking about it in this weird, broad, intangible, metaphysical sense, it's like, that's when it's proof to you, to everyone, that you can't own space, man. It's like, it'll like, it's this like slap in the face to wake up from like, here on Earth, all of us communists. I'm not communist. That's you. But it's about, you can't like own like land
property.
Yeah, man. You can't like own land or like even own like and profit from, you know, the apple trees in a field type of thing. It's like, but it would be like imperative, you know, if we're in space, if the place that humans live becomes anything more than just the Earth, suddenly infinite possibility like that makes it impossible to parcel up and, you know, use the free market to fight each other for finite resources, right? Something like that. I had something.
Something like that.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
No.
Mean, it's just hard to see space travel as anything except for like a capitalist endeavor now.
That's what I'm saying.
So
We
it
use,
seems
just
kind
like
of-
how we use capitalism to get to the industrialized societies that eventually make it possible to want to move towards socialism. You know, I mean, let's move towards socialism in a modern society only, I mean, in my opinion, because
I love Karl
I'm just gonna,
Marx.
is because we have industrialized and are able to have these enough excesses, and especially now, able to automate all this stuff is why we could move to real socialism. If, you know, I mean, how? Who knows? I mean, through bloody revolution or not, but. You know, you could still use capitalism to get to things, to get places, to get to certain places as a society. I mean, you of course we'd use capitalism. That's what we have right now. I mean, but it was just like, even if using capitalism got people to, just to be able to exist without the bounds of being on Earth, you know, how it would almost force us to see all of that differently, right? Wouldn't it?
It's called, that is a thing that astronauts have, and it's called a cosmic perspective.
Well, sure.
That astronauts say, I mean, but
even
it is
economically. It's like, if we're not bound by the Earth, or is that kind of part of it?
Well, just that it's all just so meaningless, all these arbitrary like borders and things like that. Astronauts say when they look down on the Earth, it's like this feeling of just like the wholeness of it, like our home. And, you know, Carl Sagan talks about the whatever pale blue dot and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was like, what do you even know about space?
Yeah, your name is Carl. I love Karl Marx. I want to use that 40 times today. No. But yeah, that's true. It's funny. I mean, you could go to space for it, or I remember my first, before ever looking into it as much, I think my first real anti-capitalist epiphanies come from using drugs, right? Psychedelics like mushrooms, and just being like, how absurd this is. I remember exactly that, like telling people, like, why can't we just give each other stuff, man? Like, I was so whacked on mushrooms, and I remember I was still selling weed at the time, and like, I would just tell, oh yeah, mushrooms, Molly, we had all this stuff going on. I was just like, just, you know, I trust you, man. Just take some of the weed and just leave the money there. People are like, are you sure? I'm like, I mean, whatever. It's like, it was funny.
That's so
but
nice.
I was having, but it's like a funny outwards, but I was really thinking about it like, gosh, it's all so absurd.
Sure.
Why do we, you know, as soon as you take that step back with psychedelics, it's like if you left the Earth, right? And we're looking at the Earth. You have this weird zoomed out perspective,
space,
right? And that really makes you second guess everything about how we why are we doing all this, man? You know, this is the reason for all of the interactions that we have on a normal day is because of this capitalist system. It's really weird. Anyway, yeah. Well, we'll do another episode where where we just both take mushrooms.
We go to
Yeah.
space?
Exactly. Yeah, we go to space.
I have some mushrooms.
So,
Maybe next time when you come visit.
oh man, I'd
We'll
need a
take some
couple
mushrooms and
days,
pod.
to make sure. I'd probably be so happy for like weeks afterwards. It would be too good for me. No, next time we coming up,
Too good
I'm
for your
bringing
mindset.
Sophia. And, you know,
She can have some? No, I'm just kidding.
you're like, what? Jeez,
Stingy
she's
much?
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? You don't want to share? Yeah. Exactly. Stingy.
Jeez.
That's funny.
You don't want to share my mushrooms?
Natalie.
That's what Sophie would be saying. But she'd be like,
Stop.
no.
You're fucking annoying me.
And then she'd finish like 8 hours of a mushroom trip and just be like,
I love Karl Marx.
Nice.
I love my
I
dad.
don't even care that he's a misogynist.
So, I'm like, shut up. Go find
up,
a
bitch.
husband.
Yeah.
Okay. I talked a lot this episode. I say that a lot, but I really talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
we
sorry.
gotta wrap it up because I gotta pee.
Oh.
QRST, if you know what I'm saying.
It's the funniest thing you've said all day.
I know, it's been a good day. Yeah.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
You what?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Gotta
This was really blathering. I was excited to do this, but now I'm not so sure.
But I do actually.
Yeah,
have to
we'll
pee, so-
record another one after you pee. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. All right, I love you. Shout out Aaron Brown. Shout out
love
to
you too.
Kelsey.
Our Lord and
everyone,
Savior.
Zach, anyone who listens. Shout out to Ron King. Ron King.
Runking.
It's gonna turn out they're gonna message us and
Ron.
be like, my name's Rao and my middle initial is N. It's Rao N King. I'm like, oh, sorry. But
Yeah. How did you not get that?
moron. Yeah, those numbers are part of my last name too.
I'm a
This is
cyborg.
absolutely lit.
Okay, well, for the anyway, that episode,
Not good.
and I love you, and I will
Love you.
talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.